Hello, and welcome to the Patients Getting Paid podcast, where I interview people with chronic illnesses that have found ways to make money that accommodate their health. I call them chronicpreneurs. I also interview experts in various fields that can teach us all how to take our chronicpreneur businesses to the next level. I'm Kathy Reagan Young, host of the Patients Getting Paid podcast and creator of the PGP online course. If you haven't done so already, head over and get on the waiting list for the course, and you'll also receive a weekly newsletter with tips and tricks for creating a chronicpreneur lifestyle and a list of gigs available that week. Sign up at patientsgettingpaid.com/list. Today's guest is Julie Croner. I'm so excited. A psoriatic arthritis patient leader on a mission to advocate for all advocates. She's the vice president of the Patient Leader Network at WEGO Health, which is a really cool resource, and was named to MM&M's inaugural class of 40 under 40 in 2020. That's a mouthful. Julie has been featured by Stanford Medicine X, the National Psoriatic Foundation, Everyday Health, WebMD, HealthLine, and many more. She also has a blog because she has so much extra time. And that blog is itsjustabadday.com, and that's so indicative of her personality. Welcome, Julie.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm so excited to talk to you.
I'm so excited to see you. It's been a while,
I
thanks for
know.
doing this.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Just reading this intro made me tired.
Me too.
Do you just fall down at the end of every day? And by the way, that intro didn't even mention your other huge job, which is you have two little ones who are adorable, by the way.
Thank you. Yes, it is a ton. I have a 3-year-old and a 6-month-old, and I am really trying to figure out this season of life, right? Because when I started my patient journeyship, several years ago, I was single and I only had myself to focus on. So yeah, ebbs and flows of it all.
Right. Exactly. Seasons. That's a good word for it. So, let's start with that. I mean, you have all this stuff on your plate and you have a chronic illness.
Yeah.
So, you mind sharing your diagnosis and beyond with us?
Sure. So, really it all started back in end of elementary school, beginning of middle school. And I started having knee problems, and I had a knee surgery in 5th grade. And kind of just thought it was like a one-off issue. The doctor said, oh, you're into dance, you play softball. That's probably what happened. But after that, every year I was on crutches, I had a knee brace, I had something going on. And I ended up going to a rheumatologist in middle school, and they said, you probably have psoriatic arthritis, but there's no definitive test for it. And back then, in the early 90s, biologics weren't even indicated for juvenile use. So they didn't even want to start me on anything.
Right.
So they said all this stuff. And I never took it seriously. I mean, I was like, I'm a little kid. I don't have arthritis. I'm not a grandma. That's just, I don't have it.
Possible.
Right. Exactly. So, we didn't have the internet to go and look to see what psoriatic arthritis was.
No Dr. Google yet.
Yeah, exactly. So my mom was kind of just like, yeah, you have this. We had so many fights of them. Like, I don't have this. So fast forward several years, always having some kind of issue along the way. But I finally graduated college. I started working for a big consulting firm, traveling every single week. And I started to really not feel well. My knee blew up. I again thought it was just like another knee issue, because that was just, par for the course. Ended up having 2 back-to-back surgeries. They weren't getting any better. Ended up landing myself in the hospital in December 2012. And they said, oh yeah, you definitely have psoriatic arthritis. We need to get that under control. Like, your body's so inflamed. And also you have what's called avascular necrosis, which meant part of my femur bone and my left leg died. It was dying. So my bone was crumbling. So I was in so much pain. It was horrible.
God, who knew that was even possible?
I didn't even know that was a thing.
I understood the word necrosis, but I'm like, a bone? Yeah. What?
I didn't know that bones could die, but yes, bones can die.
And
because of that, then I developed complex regional pain syndrome on the left side of my body. Ended up getting melanoma. As you can imagine, I was super depressed and anxious.
Yeah.
Like it was just a lot. So I officially got the diagnosis in December of 2012, but my mom actually my mom's amazing. And she kept a book on me from like the first doctor's appointment I ever had in my life until, I graduated college. And I started flipping through this book and I could just see, like, connect the dots of, okay, chronic inflammation. Like it basically just had this beautiful picture of, yeah, you definitely have psoriatic arthritis. You've had it since like way back when. So, I mean, on paper, it's only been, I don't even know, 10 years, but it's definitely
Reality
been
is
longer.
different. Yeah. So, okay, you're a young adult.
Yeah.
You are in this big job, doing a lot of traveling.
Yeah.
You know now for a fact that you've got that and so much more because you're an overachiever.
Yeah.
So how did you get into patient advocacy?
So whenever I 2011, when I had these back-to-back surgeries, I ended up having to go out on short-term disability. And I'll be the first to say, whenever I signed up for my disability plan with work, I had no idea what I was signing. I had no idea any of it, right?
Thank God you did, right?
Thank God I did. And thank God I worked for a big company who gave us some really great benefits. So that really, really helped me. But I had to take a step back from work, ended up getting on long-term disability, which I was on for 4 years. And during that time, in the beginning, I was just very depressed and I didn't know exactly what I was going to do. I like to see, I'm a goal person, right? So I like to see where I'm going, and I just couldn't see the end of the tunnel here because it was like, I went to all these doctors, no one was helping me. Like psoriatic arthritis, yes, I could go to my rheumatologist. She was giving me medications. I started making lifestyle changes. I was driving that seat, car, train, whatever. But with avascular necrosis, like no one was really giving me answers on how to solve my problem. So it was really mentally draining. Yeah, there wasn't. Yeah.
That's tough. That's just going on a wing.
So So I spent a lot of time just in bed, depressed, eating ice cream. And then
that sounds good actually right now. Sorry, go ahead.
I was always into social media, but I had to take a step back from Facebook because I saw all my friends living their lives and I was laying in bed and I couldn't do it. So I hadn't really been on Twitter to that point, and I thought, maybe I'll check out Twitter. So I checked out Twitter and I started finding all of these patients online talking about their journeys and what they're doing to help manage their conditions and just connecting with each other. So I started every week jumping into Twitter chats and just like finding this whole community of people that I didn't even know existed.
Right.
And that was really life-changing for me. And actually, I just got goosebumps thinking about it because they helped me realize that there were other things that I could start doing. So like lifestyle changes and yoga and like diet and stuff. I actually started doing that stuff, not because my doctor told me to, but because a lot of people online were saying like, hey, try this. Or, patients were saying like, this is how I was managing. Yeah. So I started really jumping into all of these conversations, and I was just like a participant in it, and I didn't really know where it was going. But I had always loved to travel, and I had spent many months in bed, and my parents like, okay, we need to get you out of this funk. We need to like get you out of the house. So they surprised me with a trip to Florida, which in any other circumstance, I would have been so excited to go, but I didn't even want to go. I just wanted to stay home. Like I was paying, that whole thing. Right. But I went, and it was really a really great thing because it got me out of my environment. It got me seeing like what I used to do and what I used to love, and
reminded you of life beyond your
disease. Yeah, exactly.
Good.
Exactly.
Smart parents you have.
Right. And during that trip, we went to Disney World for 2 days, and I had always loved to sing, and I had always wanted to go to the American Idol experience
I didn't know you were
Hollywood
a singer.
Studios.
This is exciting.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
All right, girl.
So we go, and I'm like, well, I have to try out. And my parents like, are you sure? Like, you didn't even want to go on this trip? Like, and I'm like, yes, like I've been wanting to go and check this out. Like, we have to do this. So I get in line, and as I'm standing in line, I'm like, what am I doing? Like, I just spent the last 6 months in bed, anxious to go to doctor's appointments. And now I'm going to like get up on the stage and sing. Like, what?
Right.
And it was like, just being out of my like my home and in a new environment, I don't know, just spurred something in me to be like, listen, like, you can still live this life that you want to live.
It relit your badass gene. You forgot
Yeah,
about it.
did. I really did. So I go and I audition, and they cast me in a show. I'm like, okay, I guess I'm really doing this. So I go up, and I'm singing in front of these hundreds of people in Disney World with my crutches, and it was just amazing. And just like to think back to that moment on stage of, if anyone had known what my previous 6 to 9 months had looked like, they would have been like, oh my God, this is insane. So from that moment, I thought, you know, I can't just not do anything with this. Like, I can still live a great life. I just need to figure out the way that I'm going to move forward. And that next day I started my blog, and I decided to call it "It's Just a Bad Day, Not a Bad Life," because we all have bad days. Sometimes it's a string of bad days, but you know, the next day is a totally brand new day, and it doesn't mean you have a bad life. And from there, it kind of just skyrocketed. Like I started journaling, like my blog, just to journal like my experience. But then because of that, I started getting connected with other people who were doing bigger, grandiose things. And they kind of just like started pulling me in. And and it was just, it was like the snowball that just kept going and going and going.
Yes, this is what I hear from people, and has been my experience too. So we talked before I hit record about, and we're at the same point of, you know, you just got to get out there. You got to get found. I mean, this is something I talk about in my coaching a lot, like just get out there. And because you can get found. It's not just about you pushing. Like, get out there, and someone may find you too.
Right.
And and it may not be, you know, a big company that's going to hire you or whatever. It could be another advocate that says, hey, you want to do a joint venture? Hey, you want to partner on something? Hey, I've got this going on. How about if we write an ebook together? Whatever it is, you won't know that unless you get out there and just try. Just try.
Exactly. No, I totally agree. You never know where it'll lead. Right. Right. I will always remember the first like big thing that I did. Someone messaged me on Twitter from the National Psoriasis Foundation, was like, hey, we're putting together this summit. Like, can we fly you up to New York to meet with other psoriatic arthritis and psoriasis patients? And I'm like,
why, yes, you
what?
may.
Like, I will gladly do this.
Yeah.
Sure. Like,
first class.
and,
sure.
Right. And just going there, I was like, wow, I didn't even know this was a thing at all.
Right. I always do the patient advocacy industry with my, you know, my air quotes, because who knew?
I didn't.
Who knew that existed? No.
Yeah.
It's like the best kept secret until we get.
Right. And then I think like, okay, would I ever choose to have health issues? No, I don't think any of us would choose to do that. But because of my health issues and the path that it has led me on, it's led me right to where I am today. And through every single experience, I've picked up some skill along the way that now I use in my current job, or, you know, I help others hone in to let them, you know, use them as well.
Yeah. So everything in your life led to this point, and you can use everything from this point.
Exactly.
Yes. Going forward. Totally agree. Love that. So, okay. Everything started rolling for you on this patient advocacy deal. And so what kinds of, you had a blog, and then you went to the National Psoriatic Association.
Yeah. So
and then what else? Like, how did you make money doing this? Let's get down to brass tacks.
Get down to it. So in the beginning, I definitely didn't. And I was okay with that because I was on disability. So I was really trying to, well, at first I had no idea what I was doing, right? I was just like throwing stuff out there, trying to see what stuck. And like, if anybody wanted to do anything, I was like, yes, let's do it. You want to start this group? You want to do this, do that? Yes. Which I think really helped create a foundation for my expertise, if you will, in the subject, in what I'm talking about, in the community. So I do think that was a really important step of just laying that foundation work. And then from there, I started realizing that, yes, you can get paid. So I started looking, and honestly, it was like just Google searches of like, what can I do to like insert myself into the conversation, into the psoriatic arthritis and psoriasis conversation. So, I approached like Health Central. I wrote for Health Central for a while, and then I started just writing for other different publications, just to get my name out there, to get content out there. And from that, I started making connections to maybe go to conferences. And then from conferences, I was making more industry connections that helped me get on to some advisory boards for some pharmaceutical companies. And honestly, I can't even tell you how I ended up coming across WEGO Health. It was either maybe through the WEGO Health Awards, or like maybe they had reached out to me. I honestly don't remember, but through WEGO Health, I worked on a few campaigns with them, and they actually sent me to a conference to speak. And it was really just going out there and just finding different things that I realized that, there's not one clear path for everybody. Like, I think it's just, there's not one place to go to find all of the gigs. Right. But there are, right. Yeah. But there are a lot of opportunities out there. And it really wasn't until I kind of took a step back and I said, what am I good at? And what do I really want to focus on? And where do I want to move forward? Is when I really started to find that path forward and lay the groundwork to really get paid for it.
Love that. So that was another thing we talked about before we hit record, but it's such an important point to make, because there are all the things to do.
Right. There are.
But you're probably not good at all the things. And
no, I am definitely not.
Nobody, even super person, couldn't do all the things. Right. And P.S., we all have chronic illnesses. So we have to keep that in mind. So I think it's brilliant. You really made such a great point about thinking about what you're good at, what you have experience in, but also I would add what you're interested in, because that
what you want to do
make you good. If you're interested, then you're dedicated to learning more about it and experiencing things and whatnot. So that starts honing down from here. You start culling from all the things to the thing that really can define who you are and what your advocacy path is. And from there, that's a much straighter path.
Exactly. I totally agree. Yeah. And so up to this point, I had been doing just work in psoriatic disease. But once I started going to industry conferences, and I can remember a moment when I went to Stanford Medicine X, and I was taken out of that psoriatic bubble, and I was introduced to all these other condition advocates that were doing the same thing as me, just, focused differently. And I thought, I love psoriatic arthritis, psoriasis. I definitely want to be a resource there, but I think my bigger calling is to go up a level and bring all of these advocates together, and let's not recreate the wheel. We're all doing different things. So let's come together. Let's talk about our experiences. Let's learn from each other, and
doing different things, but there's commonality through it all.
Exactly.
And let's bring that to everyone. We don't have to reinvent the wheel each time.
Exactly. Right? Exactly. Yeah. So I remember thinking that, and then I was getting healthy enough that I was like, all right, I think I can go back into the workforce. Like, I don't want to just be on disability, making a few dollars here and there. And I just remember meditating on it, actually, just like putting it out there. Like, I don't know exactly what my path is supposed to be, but I'm feeling very drawn to helping other advocates. Like, where can I go? And I remember waking up the next morning and I thought, hey, WEGO Health, like, I've actually done a lot with WEGO Health. Yeah. And So I went and I checked out their website, and they didn't have anything listed on the site for jobs. But I shit you not, it was like 2 days later, and Jack, our founder, had emailed me and was like, hey, we're actually looking for a new community director. Do you know anybody who might be interested? And I was like, thank you, thank you, thank you. Right. I was like, actually, can I put my hat in the ring? So yeah, I can't even say that I did a ton of work to find that. It was like such divine intervention of having worked with them on the opposite side as a patient leader. They knew me, they knew my background.
Right. But you got out there. That's the point. Right. You were out there. You were available to be found.
Exactly.
And then also you got real clear on what you
about what I wanted to do.
Yeah. And so, what you think about, you bring about, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So you were out there to be found, and then you kind of found your path and your intention, and the two just came together. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great lessons in that.
I know. So now it's like I get to work every day with the most passionate individuals you would ever meet in your life across condition areas. And, my job is really exciting because, WEGO Health, as a business, we work with healthcare companies and we connect patient leaders with them for their insights or for their collaboration for content and influencer marketing campaigns and stuff like that. But then also, we are a network, and we have a network of over 100,000 different patient leaders focused on all these different conditions. So we are constantly.
That's a crazy big number.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
100,000.
I know. I wish I could say I knew them all by name, but I definitely don't. I try.
They all know you by name, though.
Yeah. But we have a platform that has content on it where you can come in and learn to be better in advocacy, and you can learn from each other and connect and grow. And so I'm helping people get those paid opportunities on the healthcare side, but also helping build up new patient leaders. Because there's room for everyone.
Yes, absolutely. And I'll tell you that my advocacy changed when I found the patient leader network and got onto the Facebook page and signed up with my profile and all of that, because just being in the company of those wonderful people, and I was a lurker to begin with, and I just watched and listened.
I think we all need to, right?
Yeah. And I was amazed at the kinds of things that people were doing within patient advocacy and the opportunities that existed. And if they didn't exist in, for me, it was MS, then, well, hey, why couldn't I do that?
Right.
It might not exist, but now that I know that it does in lupus or whatever, I can bring it over here and suggest it and make it happen. Between that and whenever I have a quandary of any type, I just go post it. And I hear immediately. I hear back immediately, and a bunch of people chime in, and it's so supportive. It's such a wonderful, wonderful group of people.
Yeah. I think most people come. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Most people come because they are looking for opportunities, but I think one of the most valuable things people walk away with, which they didn't even realize until they come, is that there's such strength in like finding others who and just being able to draw on those experiences. I mean, honestly, it warms my heart, and I get so probably more excited than I should get whenever I see 2 people or 3 people or however many people collaborating like cross condition that I know didn't know each other before. It's just it's amazing. I just absolutely love it. And I think that if you could look at 2020 and the positives that have come out of it, one of the things is I think the normal individual started looking at these patient leaders online as the authoritative figures that they are. So, just being able to come back to the WEGO Health group and be like, oh my gosh, I'm getting all of this, these questions from everybody now. And like, I need support. Like, can you guys help me? So it's like, we're the support of the advocates going out and supporting their communities.
Right. Yeah, it's so cool. And you do have gigs, and you do have trainings, and WEGO is one of the first things that I suggest to all of my coaching students. I mean, I'm like, okay, sit down.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a great resource, and it's a great place to learn, and it's a great place to be supported too. And you don't usually find that all in one place, but you do there. So,
Thanks.
and the awards.
Yes.
Tell everybody about the awards, because that's kind of cool.
Yeah. So I feel like most people know WEGO Health because of the awards, but it's really only one thing we do. So the awards this year is the 10th year, which is crazy. And they were really brought about to recognize patient leaders who are out there just making an impact. Because I mean, think about it. All of the DMs that you answer, all the blog posts that you write, yes, you get thank you notes, I hope, from your audience, but you don't necessarily get that recognition on a big stage. And yeah, exactly. And we really want to help provide that. So through the years, the categories have changed. We usually change them, to go along with the times. Last year we had 15 different awards, and best in show, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, lifetime achievement, healthcare collaborator. And typically we've been having an in-person celebration where the winners win a trip to, we've been in DC, we've been in Boston, we've been in Las Vegas. We're still trying to figure out if there's that in-person thing this year. It's a hard decision to make given the times.
Right.
But really just want to give people the recognition that they deserve. And if we can give them a little cash bonus or a trip along with it, that's just a nice bonus.
Yeah. And I haven't talked to you since that, but you guys, I hope I wrote a note. I meant to. You guys did such a great job. I mean, you pulled off a full-on virtual awards, but also celebration and party. It was just, it was so incredibly well done and thoughtfully done. And
thank you.
It was joyful, and it was really a cool thing to be a part of. So kudos
it was,
to you guys.
Well, thank you. I can't take all the credit at all. I was actually on maternity leave when we had the virtual ceremony. So Kristen and Yvonne and Alana, like everybody on our team, just did a tremendous job with it. And we always have a virtual component because we want to get as many people involved as we can. But yeah, so thank you.
Yeah, it was over the top this year. It was great. This has been phenomenal. You have dropped all kinds of info bombs here, and thank you for sharing your, path with your advocacy and what you're doing now with WEGO. I really appreciate it. Just catching up with you today and learning more about you and your chronicpreneur path has been fantastic. So thanks for your time and sharing all your wonderful resources and all that WEGO has to offer. If people want to learn more about you, your advocacy, WEGO Health, where should they go?
Yes. So my blog is itsjustabadday.com. I would say right now I'm most active on Instagram. So it's just a bad day, not a bad life is my handle. That's another thing. Like throughout the years, I feel like I've bounced around different platforms, and I'm not necessarily posting as much, but I can tell you I'm logging on and like
you're there,
active in the community. So if you DM me, I will respond to you.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's probably the best way. And then definitely check out WeGoHealth.com, WeGo Health across all the social channels. I always love to talk to patient leaders about different options, opportunities, just kind of brainstorm different things. So please feel free to reach out.
She's great about that too. And okay, I'm going to digress just a minute because something just clicked with me when you were saying like this year you included like TikTok, and you just said, over the years things have evolved and whatnot.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on Clubhouse? Have you even had a chance to look in
there
and like?
Yes. Actually, we are doing a small mini course on Clubhouse on Friday to some internal team members. So we're gonna be putting some resources up on the platform. At WeGo Health platform. So it's been really interesting. I lurked a lot in the beginning. I've definitely been a speaker in some rooms, but what I find is really cool is that there are definitely patient leaders who have stepped up. They've created clubs, and they've created some pretty rigorous schedules for the week.
Right? It's exhausting watching these people.
I know, it's amazing. Ooh. But we talked to some of them. Like there's a woman, Christine, who runs a rare room. I think it's called This Is Rare. And she's just doing a phenomenal job. It's like you sign up, she'll give you a text message that you text it, and it like gives you like info about the group and all of this stuff. So I think that there's definitely room there for patient leaders to like go and stake their space right now, especially since it's new.
I know.
So yeah, we're going to be putting out some content related to patient advocacy and Clubhouse here shortly on WeGoHealth.com. So
okay,
I'm excited.
To look forward to.
Yes.
Excellent. All right. Well, thank you, Julie, so much. Really appreciate you being here and
sharing
all of this info with us. And go find her, go find WeGo, and take good care of yourself and those cute
Thank
babies.
you. Thank you. You too.